Part 4. More on the Aleph and the strong leader. Psalm 100, verse 3. Know that He is the Lord, He is God. It is He who has made us and not we ourselves. We are the people and the sheep of His pasture. Who is the strong authority over us? As sheep, who are we listening to? Who do we shema to? Who are our teachers, our shepherds, the strong authority over us? Choose them wisely by seeing what they do. Shema Israel. Jeremiah 3:15. And I will give you shepherds according to my heart, who will feed you with knowledge and understanding. For those who have strong authority, the concept of the ox and the shepherd's staff in the word El has been carried over into modern times as the scepter and crown of a monarch, the leader of a nation. These modern items are representative of the shepherd's staff, and the ancient sign of authority, and the horns of the ox, an ancient sign of strength. A great resource for all things pertaining to ancient Hebrew would be found on Jeff Benner's website and YouTube pages, the Ancient Hebrew Resource Center, or ancienthebrew.org. As a little side note here, we should discuss the horns of Moses. The last picture was a sculpture done by Michelangelo. As we have been discussing strong authority, it should be known that translations of the original scripture can shape our view through creative liberty taken by artists, fabricating that which represents those views. In the Latin translation of the Bible by Jerome, the Vulgate, which was completed in 405 BCE, the Catholic Church used this as the official scriptures of the Holy Church. Jerome used the word cornuta, which means horn. The Latin was translated as horns were coming forth from Moses' head, hence why we see artist renderings of Moses having some form of horns, when it's really symbolic of the authority he had after receiving revelation from above. Before we move on, I'm going to stop for just a moment here and address something. Some of you may have been offended that I reference people as sheep as being not very intelligent. This was not done intentionally to bring harm or to be condescending to anyone. First, the Bible metaphorically references to us as sheep at least 15 times in the scriptures. Here are 4 examples of this. Psalm 78:52. But he made his own people go forth like sheep and guided them in the wilderness like a flock. Psalm 79:13. So we, your people, and sheep of your pasture, will give you thanks forever. We will show forth your praise to all generations. Psalm 95:7. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, and the sheep of his hand. Today, if you will hear his voice. Psalm 119:176. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I do not forget your commandments. Second, it would be good for me to share the definition of ignorant or ignorance, as ignorance is a state of being ignorant, that I will be using throughout presentations, considering that this word has been weaponized informally. Ignorant means lacking knowledge, information, or awareness about a particular thing. Some synonyms that might be helpful would be unknowledgeable and unlearned. And lastly, stupid sheep is incorrect. Due to their strong flocking instinct and their failure to act independently of one another, sheep have been universally branded stupid, but they really aren't. Their only protection from predators is to band together. and follow the sheep in front of them. If a predator is threatening the flock, this time is not the time to act independently. At the same time, there's a growing body of evidence that sheep may actually possess some smarts. Now let's get back to the horns of Moses. Let's take a closer look at what Jerome was looking at when he translated the verse that influenced a great many artists. Exodus 34:29. Now it was so, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and the 2 tablets of the testimony were in Moses' hand when he came down from the mountain, that Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. This is the word Quran, consisting of 3 letters, Kuf, Resh, and Nun. Interesting that another holy book of one of the world's largest religions would be called the Quran, which would be spelled exactly with these same letters. Let's see what the word meant and why Jerome in the Vulgate would state that Moses had horns coming out of his head. I apologize that this slide is cluttered with many words. If you can be patient with me, I will make it a little easier for you to comprehend by circling the pertinent words for this example. Now, by taking a closer look at the Hebrew and their definitions found in the Strong's Concordance, we can see why Jerome chose to translate the word shone as horns. Shoot out horns, rays, and a ray of light, figuratively power. As we are not living during the time in which Moses walked the earth, we can hardly surmise whether or not he had horns of light coming out of his head. But we do know, through the Paleo-Hebrew, is that the horns are symbolic of the letter Aleph, that which means strength of the leader. I believe, based on what I have seen through the Hebrew definition in Strong's, as well as what I know of Paleo letters of Hebrew alphabet, that these horns were purely symbolic in nature. But I don't want to speak poorly of Michelangelo or his art. Now let's get back to Aleph. I have shown the first 2 letters that spell Aleph, the Aleph and the Lamed, the strong leader and teacher. But there is a 3rd letter. It is the Pei. This pictograph has the meaning of speak and blow from the functions of the mouth, as well as the edge of something, as the lips are the edge of the mouth. Here is a visual representation for you to see that the symbol Aleph contains the 3 individual symbols merged into one. In the English alphabet, the A is just an A. It stands alone. Now from this point on, when we see the symbol Aleph in Scripture, we know that it is a unified symbol made of 3 different letters, all having their own meaning in order to supply the symbol of Aleph with depth. The 3 letters are hidden and are a part of, although unseen, but are unified in the symbol. Think of it like unpacking a suitcase. Each letter is crammed with information that we should examine one at a time. On the outside, we see the symbol as a single unit. But when we open up the suitcase, we see 3 letters combined to generate it. Whether you know it or not, Scripture is in shorthand. Each letter symbol has hidden letters within. If we want to see the fullest measure of what is in store for those who are willing to dig and do the work of excavation, we need to recognize and register all that is contained in the outward symbols we see. We need to unpack them. This is where the hidden knowledge has been deposited. Where it seems nothing is actually where everything is. So, if each symbol is constructed with additional symbols and letters, how far does it go? To infinity and beyond. This is why the word will never return void when it is spoken in Hebrew or Aramaic, the original languages, because of their vibratory nature. It spirals and it constructs our reality. Isaiah 55:11. So shall my word be that goes forth from my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish what I please, and it shall prosper in the thing for which I sent it. This is why prayer with intention, using the Hebrew words, with their vibratory patterns, can be so effective. For those who have been taught by the strong authority and have a knowing of the hidden intentions within the original language, their prayers are extremely effective when it's prayed in humility, not for selfish purposes, but in selflessness. Imagine if we all prayed for each other and not ourselves, with the intention and vibration of the original languages. Do you think we might see change? James 5, verse 16. Confess trespasses to one another, and pray for one another, that you may be healed. The effective, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. Through this presentation, I have shown that the symbol Aleph is actually made up of 3 individual letters that are unified into one. Unified as one is the Hebrew word echad, which usually is translated as one. It also has the meaning of being unified. Think about when Jesus, Yeshua, Isa said, "I and my Father are one." He was saying that they are unified, in agreement, just like this symbol is in agreement with each letter it was created with. Since Jesus, Yeshua, Isa, is the Word according to the 1st chapter of the book of John, now we can see a little more clearly about the association he had with each letter of creation. The vibration and frequency that Alan Watts so eloquently put forth, that everything owes its existence solely and completely to sound. John 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. God eternal within the body. Through the vibrational frequency of the unified letters into one, the Word, the alphabet, God, the strong authority, created everything. It was through God, the strong leader, using the unified symbols, that all was made. All that is eternal and lasting was made through these vibrational frequencies woven together in a beautiful tapestry of creation, and will never return void. That is why he who began a good work in you is faithful to complete it. Philippians 1:6. One more thing for you. The Aleph is a silent letter and is known to the Hebrew students as the breath in, as opposed to the letter and symbol He, which is the breath out. Breath is one of the definitions for the Hebrew word ruach, spirit. This is why Scripture starts with the 2nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the Bet, and not the Aleph. Barashit bara Elohim et hash-shamayim ve'et haaretz. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, even though you do not see it, it first took the breath of the Spirit before exhaling the word that spoke creation into existence. Barashit. The Spirit is the creative force of creation, the unseen strength which activates the vibrational frequencies of each letter and symbol in creation. The Spirit is the creative force of creation, the unseen strength. Shalom, shalom.